Now this is the time for you to have that insight about what you need to know about your business and how to go about your business. We will look at a particular topic on the first segment, that is the business review segment. And on that segment, we usually have a guest that will analyze that topic, tell you what to know about the topic and how to go about it. My name is Charity James. I want to welcome you to the Profit Point Show this Thursday, and it promises to be an educative one. Our topic is business organization and processes. We want to look at how you can organize your businesses so that you can have that desired goal. The desired goal of every business owner is profit, and that is why we're here on the Profit Point Show to tell you how to make that profit. And our guest is Gift Best Jr. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
He's a business coach, so he has that knowledge about what we're talking about, that is business organization and processes. So before we go into the nitty-gritty, the steps, the techniques, and all that you can follow to have a neat business, can you tell us what business organization or processes is?
All right, thank you so much. First, I want to say thank you for having me on the show. You know, I follow the program and I'm excited to be here live, interacting today on this. So as a business consultant, over the years, I've seen that one of the problems that entrepreneurs, one of the problems businesses face is the fact that most people don't understand how the proper way to run a business. The fact that I have an idea does not mean I'm qualified to run that business.
Okay.
So business processes simply is the arrangement or the structure that is put in a business in order for that business to be able to accomplish the goals that is set out to accomplish. Every business has a goal. I mean, in every year, we set out plans for the year, for the quarter, first quarter, second, third, fourth, right? So the processes are just simply the structures that is put in place to achieve that goal that the business has set out to achieve.
So let's talk about the processes now. So when we are talking about processes, that means we're talking about steps and procedures. Let's go into the steps now.
So when we talk about these things, I meet most people. For instance, yesterday I was at the Tech Summit Ogun. I spoke there yesterday. And one of the ladies who was part of the panelists, she said something that really caught my attention. She said that most people, they want to go into getting fundings for their business. They want to go into getting funding for their ideas, what they are doing. So they are applying for different accelerator programs. But one of the things investors are looking for is not just the brilliance of the idea. They are looking for the structure behind the business, because that is what actually sustains the business, not the idea. You can have a fantastic idea, but if there's no structure, you are not able to sustain that business or accomplish the results that you want to accomplish. So when we talk about the processes, we're talking about the different organizations from management, the structure, the organogram of the organization from management. We're talking about human resource management as well, the HR department. We're talking about customer care. We're talking about the responsibility, how it's shared, who is doing what, who is doing that, all of that. So this is simply the flow, the processes that has to be put in place in order for a business to function properly and have a streamless
So from all these steps, from all these procedures, which one should come first? Is it the human angle or the business angle, or you look at the fund angle before you can? How do you put them on? Which one is the first, the second, and the third?
So generally, the truth is, the first aspect of a structure for any business, and I'm not saying this for just small-scale businesses, this includes large-scale organizations, multi-billion-dollar companies. The first thing that has to be done is the leadership structure. Because when we're talking about funding, investors are first not looking at the idea. They are looking at the person behind the idea. So if, for instance, let's say I'm someone that I'm not able to manage 100,000 and I'm seeking for a fund of $1 million or 100 million naira, right? And I come to the investors and I say, I have this idea, I want to do this, I want to do this. So they look at me and say, okay, that is fantastic. So we want to see a track record of the things you've done.
Managing.
Yes, how have you managed it? So they want to look at the structure, the leadership structure of that business before they want to commit their money. So at the end of the day, the first thing that comes into place is that leadership structure, because it's from the leadership you go into hiring before you talk about HR, managing other people in the organization, before you talk about customer care and all of those things. So it's the leadership structure of the business. So the problem that most people have is when you do a personality analysis, personality test, to check if you are able to, because not everybody can run a business.
Not everybody.
That's the truth. So when you do an analysis of yourself, you see that, oh, I'm intelligent, but I don't have that capacity to manage a business. That's why we talk about co-founding of businesses.
Okay.
But most people, because of maybe they just, okay, it's my idea, I want to do this,
And I have
do
the
this.
fund.
And I have the fund, of course. And then they just go into say, I'm CEO, I want to do that, I want to do. And at the end of the day, the business does not survive. So the leadership structure of any business is the first thing that comes into place when we're talking about the processes.
So the fund should come second, or
The fund, well, most
because
people,
most times we look at the financial aspects.
Yeah.
Most times, and we neglect other aspects of it.
Yeah.
We just go all out to get money and don't know how to manage it according to what you have said.
Yeah.
So when should the financial aspect come in? Should it be the last thing to think about, or it should be at the middle, since the human angle is the first thing to do?
That's a very fantastic question. Now look at this. Most people, they think that their problem in starting a business is money. But that's not the truth. Because most people have, if you read most business books, Robert Kiyosaki, all of them, they will tell you that the first profitable strategy to use to start any business is by leveraging on personal finance, leveraging on family and friends. Because this is a capital that you can get, and even if you lose it, your family, since you have family or friends, they can forgive you. But when you take on people's money, investors, and then you go do something, and at the end of the day, the business doesn't become profitable, well, there are a lot of complications that can come from that. So before people even talk about funding, before they talk about, okay, getting money for their business and all that, the first thing people should do after putting structures in place is to get off the ground. There's something one of my leaders used to say that nobody wants to drive a parked car. Right? The first thing is to get off the ground. So the question I usually ask most people, because I interact with entrepreneurs, is how much do you have in savings that you want to first of all invest in getting this idea to lift up a little bit before you're saying that, oh, we are looking for fundings to scale.
You should kickstart it.
You should kickstart it. So that means you have savings from your own personal account. Or if you don't have, you're talking to family, friends, money that even if you lose it, there's nothing going to happen. So when you get all of those things, and then you are able to kickstart it before you go into fundings. And then if you ask me, I would say that funding is at least the third thing anybody should be looking at. So first of all, you have the structures in place. Second of all, you have established an operational procedure for the business. You've been able to actually solve a problem. Because one of the things you would do when you are trying to apply for fund is you need to create a pitch deck. And in your pitch deck, you have to state the problems you want to solve, the steps you've taken to solve those problems, and how productive those steps are. So I think funding is like the third thing anybody should be looking into when it comes to business.
That means we will have to talk about the characteristics. When you see a business that is running, what are the good one, because the bad one also is running, but running at a loss. When you see a good business running, what do you see at first? How do you categorize it? How do you say this business is a good one, the business organization is top-notch? What is the first thing that catches your fancy?
Okay, now, personally, and as a professional, as someone who has worked with several businesses, when I see a business, I'm not much into looking at the numbers they're doing every year, because since I'm into tech, one of the things that is common in the tech space is the numbers you're doing per year, how much profit you made in a year, how many users you've been able to accumulate in a year. So, but when I see a company, one of the things I judge first to see if this company is doing well and is going to do well, because there's this saying in the business space that for you to actually say that the business is successful, they need to be profitable at least for 5 years, right? So when I see a business, the first thing I'm looking at beside the organization is how relatable the idea of that business is. That is to say, the problem it is solving. Mhm. How effective is it really solving this problem? Because there are a lot of businesses that are recycling solutions. So there's this thing we have in Nigeria today. We have a lot of people who want to do fintech, right? They want to go into fintech. They want to be able to help people process money, create virtual cards, and do all of this. And this is a problem, yes, but there are a lot of people solving this problem. Right? A lot of people solving this problem. I mean, there are other problems nobody's looking at. So one of the things I look at is the viability of your ideas. Can this idea be sustained for the next 5 years? How relatable with technology, how innovating is this idea that you're bringing? So that's the first thing. Beside the organization, which is obviously the first thing. The second thing I'm looking at is how profitable, not just how profitable in terms of money, but how effectively this business is solving the problems that
is it self-sustaining?
Yes, exactly. Is it self-sustaining? Is it actually solving a problem that is relevant to people? So those are the first thing I actually look at when it comes into analyzing a business.
All right, that means a business organization and processes is something that is very, very important to businesses.
Yes, it is.
Very, very important. Now let's talk about the types of these business processes and which type of trade or which type of businesses should use them. For instance, which one should a small-scale enterprise use, which one should a medium-scale enterprise use, and the corporate ones, the big ones. When you analyze your types, can you tell us the types vis-a-vis the businesses?
Yeah, we'll talk about the types of processes. Now, most people, and the problem I have with small-scale business owners is they try to, I mean, there's nobody saying that you shouldn't make $1 billion in a year. There's nobody saying that, even if it's akara you sell, even if it's moi moi, whatever. There's nobody saying that you shouldn't scale this business large. So when we talk about the processes, we're talking about leadership processes, we're talking about human management processes of business process. So all of these things, you can be a sole proprietorship, which means a single person business. Now, you can be that kind of business, but you have all those processes in place, which means you know that, okay, the structure of this business works effectively. You know that the way we manage customers, our HR system, even if you are the HR yourself, you can be CEO, you can be HR, but the way you relate with people. There's a place I went to buy something the other day in the city, and this guy was so nice that initially the product I was supposed to buy for a certain amount, but he was calling a certain amount. But because he was so nice, at the end of the day, I ended up buying it at the price that he wanted because he was nice. This is relations. So relationship is, HR is part of the business, a type of the business processes that needs to be put in place. But whether it's a small scale business, whether it's large scale, you have to make sure that you do all of the things. You set all the processes in place. Because the way you relate with people, you know, I tell people that when you lose one customer, you don't actually lose one customer. When you lose one customer, you lose a network. Because the one person knows another person. That person knows another person. That person knows another person. So it's a network. So when you lose one person, that person is going to tell his friend, say, oh, hey, this guy, I don't think this guy is very professional. So at the end of the day, you lose an entire network that is supposed to make you profitable. So I think whether large-scale business, small-scale businesses, they should explore all the processes. You're looking at setting up a proper leadership structure for your business. You're looking at setting up a proper relational structure for your business. You're looking at setting up a proper marketing, because there's a marketing process, marketing flow, making sure that marketing goes and accomplishes the goals that is set out to accomplish. So I think whether large-scale, whether small-scale, everyone should explore it. And most people limit themselves to the information they have. But the information you have is what brought you here. But it might not be what will take you to where you need to be. So I think most people, they should make research on what you're doing. So you're trying to build so your goal is to make $500,000 in this year. So look at companies that have made this, that are doing what you're doing. What are the processes they put in place to accomplish all of these things? You look at that. You are able to even implement all of those things in your business.
So the types does not matter. It's how you relate.
Implement them. Yeah.
Now let's talk about why it is very important to organize your business. What are you projecting when you organize your business? What would people see you to be when you organize your business?
Yeah, so when you organize your business, it shows that you are serious. It shows that you are really a business person. You know, one of my mentors said something. He said there's a difference between an entrepreneur and a hustler. An entrepreneur is someone who has a structure to what he does, which means this person, he can be sick, his business will run. But a hustler, if he's sick, his business cannot run because it depends on him. So what processes does for entrepreneurs it shows that, okay, you are serious. For instance, even starting from the part of organization, which includes registering your business. For most people, they are making money from their business. But when you ask these people that, okay, what is your CAC registration number? You ask them, they're trying to figure it out, you know, because they don't have.
it.
You know, so these people, they don't understand that this is what shows that you are serious. You're seriously doing this business. Because these are the things, when you want to scale, you're applying for funding. They want to see all these things.
See the certification.
Yes, it's part of the requirements. They want to see that you are registered. You're registered, you pay tax. You know, these are the things they want to see. So when you have the processes in flow, when you have the processes in order for your business, it shows that you're actually serious and you really want to do this as a business and you're not just hustling. It shows that you're really an entrepreneur as you profess to be.
Okay, so there's the difference between a actually business owner and entrepreneur.
Now, when I talk about that, most people, I wouldn't say business owners and entrepreneurs. I would say business owners or entrepreneurs and hustlers.
Okay.
There are people that are hustling, but then there are people that they know that I want to do this business. I want to be serious with this business. Every structure has to be put in place. I register them. I do all of the things that I need to do. I put a proper documentation. And this is one area that is lacking with most people. There's no proper document. So if you go and ask some people who do business, that, okay, where is the sales record for, let's say they started this business in 2018. So you go and meet them that, where's your sales record for 2019? They say, oh, they start speaking English because they don't have it.
Should you keep it?
Of course, because they want to see your documentation. And this is one of the reasons, you know, most people, when they apply for funding and they don't get it, they say village people are doing them. And that's not it. Because God presents us with opportunity, but your preparedness, the way you are prepared is what helps you to maximize those opportunities. So you prepare, you say you want to get funding, you are applying for fundings and all of that. So the opportunity comes, you are in an interview. So they ask you that, okay, can you provide us with a record of your business sales, your profit margin for the past 5 years? Because you've been doing this business for 10 years.
At least they want to judge you if you are doing the right thing or not.
Exactly. But some people can't provide it. And then at the end of the day, they say, oh, they didn't favor me. No. You were not prepared for the opportunities. You register your business, you have proper documentation. If you're hiring people, there's a proper salary structure because they want to see these things. And these are the things that actually makes you prepared to be able to make your business profitable and sustainable in the long run.
All right, now let's talk about the innovations, the ideas that you must put in place that will make you unique in your own way. From you've been a business coach for some time, business consultant. Can you tell us some of the ideas that you can put into your business that will make you stand out and make you, people will see you as someone who's really ready to solve the solutions in the business world? Yeah.
So yesterday, like I said before, because I want to reference that, yesterday when I spoke at Tech Summit Ogun, the topic I spoke on was innovating forward. Okay. And it's fantastic. It's a fantastic subject because innovation is a lifeline for every business. And when I talk about innovation, most of the people who are listening to me, maybe they are not people who are tech savvy. They are not people who use technology a lot. So when I talk about innovation, it's not just about technology. It's about making your process better. It's about making your idea continually better. So there's a way you did something in 2020. Now this is 2023. It should be better. Customer service should be better. The way you implement your processes, it should be better. It should not get more complicated. It should be more simplified. So I think one of the things people should do when it comes to sustaining their business and scaling and all of it is constantly innovating on the ideas and their business processes.
How can they do that?
Yeah, they can do that by constantly learning.
Okay.
Constantly learning, constantly adapting. Because one of the things that is the truth of the business world is the human desire for services is going to continually change. This is one of the reasons you can't really say you have a permanent customer. Because you service them. Tomorrow they see someone that services them better than you do. They will go to that person. Because human need, like they said, is insatiable. You can't really satisfy it. So one of the things people should do is be better, constantly be better at what you're doing. That's number one. Number two is you are constantly learning. How have they been doing this thing? How can I improve on these things? How can I get better? You're constantly learning. Number three, you are constantly adapting. The market is always changing. Whether you're selling, for instance, there was a time NIPOST, the Nigerian Postal Service, was known for delivering letters to people and from houses to houses. You write a letter, you can get a letter in a month's time.
From state to state.
From state to state. But we came into a time where platforms like Facebook came up. And then I don't need to write you a letter. I just need to go to your Facebook page, send you a message, and in minutes, in seconds, you get the message. So this is an innovation in the area of communication. And NIPOST was in the area of communication. So what would actually make them to stay relevant at that point where that changes was happening was to look at how they can transit into creating a platform for people to interact online. So adaptation is one of the things people can do to constantly stay relevant and to innovate on the process. So you are looking at constantly learning, constantly innovating, constantly adapting to the changing market. And then research.
And compare notes.
Yes, yes, exactly. Because, I tell people that nobody has a 1 in a billion idea. Like you have the idea and there's nobody else in the world that has the idea. That's not the truth. The truth is we are all copiers. So what you're doing, it can be like money. So today we are talking about Bitcoin, we're talking about cryptocurrency, we're talking about all of those things. It's a means of exchange. But that is just an evolution of cowries that was used as a means of exchange.
In those days.
In those days. So it's an evolution. So now we are in this time where processes are evolving, things are evolving. So one of the things people can do is to adapt to that, make research. The industry I'm in, where is it going to be in 10 years' time? So I make research, I see where it's heading, I innovate in that direction.
All right, now before we leave this segment, let's talk about policies, procedures, and code of practice. Are they the same? Do they relate? And if they do, how can they help the businesses grow? Yeah,
so policies, one of the things I love so much about Corporate Affairs Commission is CAC, is the fact that when you register your business, they even give you a kind of a code of conduct policy for your business. So you don't need to sit down and try to walk around it, get policies by yourself, initiate policies for your company, even though you can do that for your company. But one of the things they do is, because most people don't know the intricacies of our legal structure as a country. Most people don't know what laws to keep, what laws that they are breaking as a business. So one of the things the Corporate Affairs Commission does is they give people these kind of policies that guide you to be able to work in the line of the law. So I think policies is an essential document or an essential structure for any business that wants to be sustainable. Because your policy shows you the extent to which you can operate, the lines that you can color in, not to color outside the lines, how to organize your business, to the way you interact with people, the way you do business, how when you employ people, what are they expected to do? What are the contracts? What are they supposed to work within? So I think policy is an essential aspect of business processes. And then code of conduct is simply, it could be an internal document that relates with how people interact, how people carry out their responsibilities in the organization. And these are vital documents required for any business to be scalable. They are not exactly the same thing, because there's policy that helps you to interact with the legal framework of the society, and then there's the one that you put in place to help your organization to function within the core values that you have in that company. So they are related. Related. And you must use them as of course, because if you don't, it's as if he said that you are operating your business from your head. Nobody should do that. You shouldn't wake up in the morning and say, oh, we are not hiring these people, we are not hiring anybody from this state. You can't wake up and do that because your brain is limited. So all of these things should be documented.
Like an handbook for you.
Yes,
Okay.
like an handbook. Every organization needs to have that. Every organization needs to have a code of conduct. What to do, you know, the organization I work with, we have a code of conduct that says, okay, most of the people who work in the organization were remote workers, right? So we have a code of conduct that says that, okay, you are expected to resume office, even though you are working remotely, you're expected to sign in by 9 o'clock, sign out by whether 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, you sign out. And of course, you can go buy things you want to go buy, but when you are expected to maybe get on a call, on a meeting online, you are available. So all of these things are what tells people that, okay, because there's a saying that where there is no law, everybody behaves like they want. So if you don't have these things, people come into your organization, they will behave the way they want to behave. Because there is no law saying that I shouldn't behave this way. There's no law saying that I should dress this way to work when I'm coming. So all of these things is essential for any business.
All right, we want to leave now, but before we leave, let's know the challenges that someone might face using this type of policy, this type
Processes.
of tool for your business.
Yeah, so one of the problems that people can face is the fact that people want to do everything by themselves.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, they look at these things that, oh, if I want to put a structure to my business, it's tedious. You know, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do this. So that is the challenge, right? But what I always tell people to do is every entrepreneur, every business person should have the capacity to get other people to work with them. Get the capacity. So I can't do this. I'm not, let's say, that's why we have what we call CEO, we have what we call COO, Chief Operating Officer. So this is someone that you employ because this person has eye for details. You employ them and they are in charge of managing the processes of the business.
All right, thank you so much, Gift Best, for coming on the program.
Thank you so much for having
Gift
me.
Best is a business coach, a business consultant, and someone who is in the field to tell you what you should do about your business so that they can grow and grow well. That will be the setting for the first segment, but we'll come back after this break. We'll be having a second segment, which is the sectorial segment. But this time around, it is a special one, and our guest is standing by.